What is up, guys? We are doing the tier list for the hardest bosses in Hollow Knight. I'm gonna order them according to the highest difficulty in Pantheon 5 and in Radiant, and not in the base game, because in the base game it's different difficulty and Pantheons are the end game. So let's jump right into it. Let's start with Gru's mother, and Gru's mother is pretty weak both in the Pantheons and in the base game. It's a nice starter boss, nothing much to say about that. False Knight again, same thing, not really hard. It's there to basically teach you the mechanics in the base game and in the Pantheons. It's just a smack. Failed Champion, I'll put him here because he does double damage and he's fast. He's really fast, and in the Pantheon he can be a real menace after Markoth and Zod. I would say he's here. He might not be S tier or A tier, but he's definitely B tier because of the double damage. Brooding Molech, put it here because it's not a starter boss, it's actually a really annoying one in the base game. And you can get hit a few times, even in the Pantheons from this guy. This guy is annoying. You should be okay with Mark of Pride and stuff like that, but I still think Brooding Molech is a bit harder than False Knight and Gru's mother. Vengefly King again, in C I think he is stronger than Gru's mother and False Knight. Just because actually moves in a more unpredictable way, and it's double Vengeflies in the Pantheons. So I'll give him C. Okay, Massive Moss Charger is just F. You don't do shit, you just stand in place and hit it. It's garbage boss. It's a meme. Let's move on. Hornet Protector starts to be interesting. Yeah, but it's not B, it's D. Because while she is a very interesting boss in the base game, because she actually starts moving around and you need to learn her patterns, in the Pantheons she's really not that interesting. There's not much to say, she's not a hard boss at all. No Eyes. I would put No Eyes here because the only thing that's really annoying about No Eyes in the Pantheons is the arena, and nothing more than that. There's nothing much to say more. Umu. Okay. Umu! I don't know if I want to put Umu in C or in B, because the issue is Umu is very tricky. Like, if you know how to play against Umu and you have good RNG, like, you don't even feel the boss fight, but you could lose a lot of blue HP to this fight if you don't know what you're doing, or if you get really bad jellyfish RNG and you get hit by stupid shit. So I would put it at B. It's not really the same level as Failed Champion, so I'm still kinda not sure. Maybe like C, something between C and B, I guess. Elder Who is really like the Pancake Man. He's really not a hard boss at all, to be fair. He's actually one of the easier ones. He's a lot of fun because you feel great when you dash and you dodge his pancakes. But he doesn't do anything really that interesting. Mantis Lords. I don't think Mantis Lords pose any threat when you get to the Pantheons. You're already pretty strong. You're already much stronger than you were before. Do we have sisters here? Yeah, we do have sisters. Okay. So yeah, Mantis Lords, they're not that interesting. You can easily beat them because you basically outscale them when you get to the Pantheons, because they don't have a lot of HP, and you have a lot of HP, and you have a lot of damage from the charms. So Mantis Lords in the Pantheons are really not that interesting. Soul Warrior is a bit annoying, and because he's a bit annoying, I'd put him here. He's not really strong as well, he's not really interesting as well, but he's a bit more annoying because he summons the annoying ghosts, and that can actually be really annoying sometimes. Soulmaster goes here same way, because Soulmaster, while he's not a starter boss, he's more annoying. If you played against him in the base game, I don't think that in the Pantheons you'll have any trouble fighting him at all. He's just like, you know, another one to pass through, especially in Pantheon 5, he's like another one of the early easy ones. Soul Tyrant, on the other hand, I would put on A, because I think this boss, being a much faster and stronger Soul Master, can actually be a big hassle, because of his faster dives on phase 2, because of his faster orbs on phase 2, because of his faster movement on phase 1. You can actually lose a few masks of HP fighting Soul Tyrant in the Pantheons, and also he has a ton of HP. I don't know if you ever did Radiant Soul Tyrant, but Radiant Soul Tyrant has a ton of HP, and it was actually the last boss that I did Radiant. The last boss, because he was so annoying, and because he was so tanky. So I would say Soul Tyrant A. Watcher Knights, I'll put at B, because while they are not that hard, a lot of people struggle with them, I know that, I've seen that a lot. And there are many of them, so you can lose a mask or two just by fighting them, like just like missing something, or like using a jump or a D-Dark at the wrong time. So definitely, Watcher Knights are definitely an interesting boss that I think a lot of people can like argue about if it's hard or if it's not. Obviously in the base game, when you have less HP, when you don't have Shade Soul and all of your abilities, Watcher Knights are much harder. Even with the Chandelier that you destroy and it wrecks one of the Watcher Knights, it's still a very hard fight in the base game. But I would say that in the Pantheons they are much easier, and I would put them at B and no more than B. I would even say that they fit between C and B, you know? Something like that. Something like that. Okay, Collector. So this is a tricky one. Collector is not a hard boss at all. But if you ever did all bindings, Collector becomes a nightmare with all bindings. And you have to use nail arts against Collector, because his bugs don't die in one hit, and when you don't have Quick Slash and you don't have Mark of Pride, anything, it becomes a menace, and these bugs can close on you and you take a lot of damage, and you don't have a lot of soul because it's all binding, so you have to use a lot of Cyclone in this fight. So Collector, I would put him higher if this was a all bindings concept, but just so you know, if you're ever planning on doing all bindings, this guy's a big issue. I know it doesn't seem like it in the normal Pantheon, because you just one-shot the bugs from the jars, but this guy's a problem in all bindings. Okay, Dunk Defender is really, I don't know, I'll put him at D, because like, come on, this boss he's fun, he's very fun, but the difficulty is 0. Okay, now we have White Defender. I'll put White Defender here. And the reason that I put him here is not because he's so hard to fight, but because he's fast enough. Even if you know the patterns, even if you know to juggle, if you know everything, you can still get hit and lose 1 or 2 masks. And that's what I mean when I put him here at A. He's not insanely fast, he's not insanely strong, he doesn't do double damage, in the Pantheon at least, but he's very tricky and fast, and you can lose a few masks. And this is right before a bench, if you remember, in Pantheon 5. Right before the big boys bench, before Soul Tyrant. So I would put him at A, definitely. Flukmarm is a joke. You can basically charge your Cyclone, jump, and release your Cyclone on the Flukmarm and do a few shrieks and it dies. It's like a really, really useless, really weak boss. Same goes with Crystal Guardian. Crystal Guardian is like the... Crystal Guardian is like a punching bag for Quick Slash. You just smack him, smack, 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 smack. You dash behind him or you double jump, and again, smack, smack, smack. It's a very uninteresting boss. I'll put Enraged Guardian here. No, put him here. Only because of the double damage, because if you miss something, or if you make a mistake, or if you underestimate the Enraged Guardian, what's gonna happen is you're gonna get hit and lose 2 masks, and 2 masks are a lot at the point that you're fighting Enraged Guardian, because you're about to fight Lost Kin and stuff like that, so you really don't want to mess with this guy. You really don't want to underestimate this. It's the same fight like the Crystal Guardian. Same fight, but it does double damage. And then it becomes a bit more tricky. Zero is really not a hard fight, but he's harder than these. So I would put him here on C. Zero is basically a mini Markov, but a really like predicted and easier Markov. Also doesn't have a floor, just like Markov. But yeah, he doesn't have a floor, but still the platforms are in a better array, and it's much easier to deal with him. Marmu, I'll put Marmu. I kinda wanna put Marmu at C, so let's put him at C. The only reason that he gets a higher bump is not because he's a hard boss, because he's so random and you can get hit by stupid shit, and Marmu can do a lot of annoying things, really, really annoying things. I don't like fighting Marmu at all. Not in the Pantheons and not in general. This boss is really random and annoying. I don't like Marmu. I never did. The character is cool, but that's it. Okay, Traitor Lord, I'll put him here. He is faster. He does double damage. He's more interesting than other bosses. He's not hard, but he's harder than these. And he does double damage, so he deserves at least a B. I wouldn't put him in A, but I think this is a good location for Traitor Lord, being the menace that he is. And of course in the base game, that's like much more difficult. But if you did what I did in my first playthrough and fight with Cloth, you get a cooler ending to the fight, although quite sad. Very sad. Galleon is tricky. Galleon actually does some really annoying things. You can get hit by his stuff randomly. He can just, I don't know, teleport at you, move at you randomly and you get hit. So I would put Galleon at B, not because he is hard, but he can take a mask or two from you just by like being randomly annoying. So yeah. Nosk, I'm not gonna say anything about, like, Nosk is, we will rate him because he's in the list, but he's not really in the Pantheons. We have the Flying Nosk, and he is in the Pantheons, but not in Pantheon 5, and I'm rating Pantheon 5. So, Nosk is not really that interesting to me. I did face tank him in my first playthrough, because I got to him really, really late. I got to Deep Nest early, but I got to Nosk very, very late in my first playthrough. And I fought Nosk, and I had to face tank him because I had no idea what's going on and where he's running and what he's doing. But basically, you know, you have that ledge that you can stand under and not get hit. I don't like that fight. It's very, I don't know, very simple, like older boss fight types, like from older games. I don't like this Nosk. Winged Nosk goes to the same rank. In the Pantheons, he's not that hard. You can just jump and pogo him, you can just fireball him. He is quite annoying with all the shit that he spews, like the infection blobs things. So it's really unfun to fight him, I would say. Of the annoying bosses. But he's not that hard to beat. I even can put him here. Something between C and B, I would say. But let's give him the credit, okay? The benefit of the doubt. Okay. Zod the Mighty. Okay, so let's consider this as the Zod secret fight in the Pantheon, okay? So that's actually a really hard fight. I would even say it's here because you wanna beat him. I don't remember how many times you need to beat him the same time as his precepts, because then you get the main menu with him singing the Hollow Knight song. So that's quite a hard fight there. How's it called? I don't remember how it's called, but that's actually one of the hardest fights in the Pantheons in general, fighting all of those Zotlings. And it's kind of fun, and it's a cute secret addition to the Pantheons. Because like he's not an official boss, but he's like a secret boss, and he's not a god, you know, unlike the other gods in Godhome. Okay, here we go with this. Oh my god, I fucking hate Grey Prince Zod. GPZ is the worst boss in this game. I have a few problems with him. First, he lags. Every time I get to GPZ in the Pantheons, I get lag. I don't know why. He spawns the bombs and then he does another attack and my game lags. Why? Besides that, he's really unpredictable, he's random, he runs a lot, he has shockwaves, his bombs deal double damage, he summons Zotlings, he has a ton of HP. He has more HP. Did you know that he has more HP in Pantheon 3 than the final boss of Pantheon 3, which is Sly? That's... I don't know. This boss is... wow, I fucking hate him. And he's hard as hell. I would rather fight even Markoth and not fight Grey Prince Zod. Yeah. And even D-Dark doesn't really solve this fight. Not really. Oblobbles! Oblobbles go to A. And the reason is it's very easy to take a hit from the Oblobbles. I mean, it's somewhere between A and B, I would say. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt, put it on A. They are really annoying, you can get hit easily if you don't watch your step, if you don't watch where you're going. If you jump at the wrong time, you just get hit and you lose a mask and it's not fun. It's a very, very cool fight, but it's a bullet hell fight in a game with like basically sword fighting or nail fighting, you know? So I would say Oblobbles are around here or maybe a bit weaker, I don't know. Maybe let's put them here. Yeah, that makes a bit more sense. Yeah, okay. God Tamer, I think he's at the same level. While his rolls are sometimes annoying, they're very, very predictable. And the little dude that rides him, his jumps are even more predictable. And the only thing that's really annoying about this fight is the blobs of infection that he spews. That's really annoying. But also, like, it's not really that hard. It's just harder than others. So I think he can even be here. Yeah, I would even say that God Tamer is in this tier. Not even in that. Okay, Markoth. Okay, Markoth, definitely S tier of difficulty. This guy is insanely hard. He's a Giga Chad. He doesn't care, he doesn't give a fuck. He just flies randomly around the platforms, shooting random daggers, flying his random shields around. He doesn't care what you do. He moves around randomly. You can't predict what he does. You need to dodge everything he does. You have no floor to stand on. This is one of the hardest, if not the hardest, boss to do Radiant. And Markoth is just insane in the Pantheons. Insane. Hornet Sentinel. Okay, so we're getting to the more interesting bosses. Hornet Sentinel is pretty cool. I hate fighting her traps because sometimes you don't see them because of the white background and the traps are white as well, so it's hard to see them sometimes, and I really don't like that. But I guess it's part of the fight, like it was meant to be this way, you know, like just like for example how Absolute Radiance has a yellow background and a lot of his attacks are yellow, so it's meant to be a bit annoying to differentiate the background and the attacks. It's meant to be part of the like challenge of the fight, I think. So the same with Hornet. Obviously she's not as hard to fight as Absolute Radiance, obviously. Yeah, that's it. Besides that, she doesn't do anything insanely hard to beat. Anything that she does, you can just like stand back and wait for it to end and then go back in and hit. Really not a hard boss. Hive Knight. Hive Knight is very easy to fight. Like, even if you lose one mask, it's because you're face tanking. Like, there's really nothing. Like, this fight is really unimpressive. So I would say even C tier, yeah. Gorb will be in C tier just because you need patience for this guy. Because this guy is really annoying. This guy is hella annoying. So I'll put him at C tier and not in D tier just because of that. Because the fight is not hard. But he is annoying and you need to be super patient with him. Which is really, really annoying. I don't like being patient with bosses like that, and not with Gorb especially. Broken Vessel goes to D. He's not a hard boss at all. You fight him in the Beseen in the base game and it's easy. In the Pantheons it's even easier because you're much stronger and much healthier. So I wouldn't even put it in C, I think. He's very easy in the Pantheons. Lost Kin, on the other hand, is somewhere between A and B. Because you actually need, you know what, I'll put him at A. Because you actually need to dodge correctly, he's fast, he has the ghost summoning. So I would actually say that he's A. Yeah, that fits. He's one of the harder bosses in Pantheon 5. Not the hardest, but one of the hard. The Hollow Knight is really not a hard fight, you're meant to beat him. I don't know, let's put him on B. Because he's not a hard fight, but he's not as easy as others, I would say. This spice, by the way, he is not in the Pantheons at all, the original Hollow Knight. So we're ranking him, but he shouldn't really be here. The Radiance is here. Again, she's not in the Pantheons, only Absolute Radiance is in the Pantheons, but let's rank it here. I think it's legit, it's the final boss of like the true ending. Okay, so we've got Troopmaster Grim, which is a cool fight. Fun fight, works well with nail arts. I really like fighting him with nail arts. He's not really a hard fight, but I would put him at B because he's a bit more interesting than the other bosses, you know? He's a bit more like, he's a bit more special. And when you learn about his phase 1, and you learn that there's a phase 2 with Nightmare King Grim, it becomes more interesting. So I would put him at B. I think you learn a lot about how to play well in this game when you get to fight Grim and Nightmare King Grim. I feel like that's the point. For me, specifically, that was the point that I got better at Hollow Knight when I fought Grim. Nightmare King Grim definitely goes to S. This guy is fast, this guy does double damage, this guy is the best fight in the game, in my opinion. Like the most fun, the best looking fight. Has great music. Very hard fight when you start, like when you don't know how the fight goes. Everything does double damage, he moves fast. It's harder to learn the fight because you don't have a lot of HP. And you have to equip the Grimchild when you're fighting him in the base game. In the Pantheons, he's still one of the hardest bosses in the game. He's basically one boss before Pure Vessel and Absolute Radiance, which says a lot about how hard he is. And he's a very hard boss in the game. I would say definitely S tier, definitely. Oro and Mato are on I think B, I think. Because they are really annoying, you know, they have a lot of HP together, it takes a lot of time to beat them, you can easily get hit, you can easily lose masks to this. So O and Mato are quite annoying, and I would say they're not really a hard boss per se, but they're annoying. You can lose a few masks to them. Paintmaster Shio is not hard at all. I would even put him at D, but he has some few, like, you can lose your focus and get hit, I guess. But Shio is more pretty and fun than hard, I would say. And he's just a cool boss in general. Great Nail Sage Sly. Okay, so I'm gonna do something controversial with this boss. I'm gonna put him here. And I know a lot of people hate him, and I know a lot of people can't beat him or had a hard time with him. And I'm gonna say that he's actually one of the easier bosses in the game. And the reason I'm saying that is because once you use nail arts, and that's the main point, fighting Sly becomes very easy. And also, his patterns are very, very predictable. You can predict anything he's gonna do. You can stand back and space him and wait out everything he does. You can dodge everything he does. He's really, really not that hard. I would say he's one of the easier, but one of the cooler boss fights in the game. So yeah, Great Nail Sage, Sly at D. Yes. Sisters of Battle. They are either A or S. I'm not sure. I don't know. I think I'm gonna put it at A together with things like White Defender and Lost Kin, because they are very hard to fight, because you're not used to fighting the three of them, and it's much harder than the Mantis Lords, but it's also not that insane like King Grim, like Zod, like Markoth. So yeah, I would put it definitely at a very high rating, but not the hardest. And Pure Vessel. Yeah, Pure Vessel, I remember myself getting to Pure Vessel the first time in Pantheon 4. I died very fast. I had no idea what's going on, I had no idea what's happening, I got hit, I tried to dash through him, it didn't work. And it took me a long time of practice until I developed like how to beat him, and I started jumping a lot. If you guys watched my guides about Pure Vessel, you've seen that I jump a lot against Pure Vessel. That's because I'm trying to keep a spacing between us, so when he actually does something, which is very hard to predict because he moves very fast and he attacks very fast, I want to have that space to react, because if I'm reacting from a very short distance to a very fast and very, like, he's very big on size as well, there's a high chance I'm gonna get hit. So I like to just jump ahead of every attack he does, because that's a much better way. And after doing that, I feel like this is one of the best bosses. Like, I have the most, I don't know, skill at, I would say. One of the bosses that I'm strongest against. Yeah. And of course, Absolute Radiance, insane final boss, insane AoE, insane daggers, orbs. Phase 1 is annoying, Phase 2 is more annoying, Phase 3 with the lasers is hella annoying, and the final phase is actually easy. The final phase is actually easy once you learn how to pogo. And that's actually one of the easier phases in the game. But the other phases are really, really hard, and you can't really do anything but dodge very well, count his attacks, know his patterns, her patterns, and react accordingly. So yeah, this is my list. I hope you guys agree with it. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know in the comments if you agree with my rating. As usual, I would ask you to like, comment, subscribe, and support my channel on YouTube. Thank you very much for being here. I'll see you next